Hello, this is Mr. Red Fox, and this is part 5, the final part of my 5-part video series talking about my ideal Fallout game. Now, in parts 1 through 4, I discussed the setup, character creation, combat, main quests, side quests, factions. In this 5th part, I'll be discussing the companions, what type of companions I like to see, DLC, and finally, we'll talk about miscellaneous things. So let's get to the first part, companions, after the cut. So one of the hallmarks of a good RPG is your party, how you interact with your party and how useful they are in basically taking care of business. So in Fallout 3, most of the companions were forgettable. Fallout 4, aside from Nick Valentine, most of the companions were... And here's the thing, I don't even like Nick Valentine all that much, but at least he was a character who had character. Marie, the medical robot who became sentient due to some, you never figure out how she became sentient, but she becomes sentient. She was interesting too, as a character. But I mean, aside from those two characters, like, none of these characters really have any real cool shit going on. Like, most of the companion characters in Fallout, in the Bethesda Fallout games, have been shit, or forgettable, or badly written, or a combination of all three. Now, Fallout New Vegas had a good amount of interesting characters, mostly because while the characters themselves were kind of stock, how they were written and how their side quests ballooned out and how you found out more about them as time went on, it's very interesting. Made it into a more interesting game. Case in point, the sniper found at Novak. Or whatever. Veronica, who was an interesting character. Kind of sucked that she was bugged out where she didn't level up properly, but whatever. Raul Tejada, Arcade Gannon. Like all these characters were really interesting. And I haven't even gotten to, the Nightkin grandma who's losing her damn mind. And I haven't even gotten to, like, the pet type side characters like Eddie and the dog. Like, there's some really interesting characters in this game. And sadly, Bethesda has not learned anything from Fallout New Vegas. So, basically, I would like to see companions in my ideal Fallout game now that all of these IPs and studios are under one aegis of Microsoft. I would like to see return to interesting companions who actually do cool shit. Because basically, I'm tired of, tropey-ass characters with nothing really interesting going on. It's lazy and kind of stupid. So my idea is this. What if they made a Fallout game where your companions were dynamic? They weren't just, oh, well, so-and-so's waiting here. They have their own lives they have to live. They have their own shit going on. And they're not going to wait around for you. Or maybe they have schedules, So if a character that you can recruit is an NCR Special Ops Forces guy, then, they're not going to be just hanging around a base. These people have a fucking job to do. If a character that you can recruit is a super mutant who's trying to find a cure for super mutant sterility so that they don't have to kidnap people in order to create more super mutants, they can just breed. They have genitals, they can breed. Like, this character is going to be rumbling around. Of course, they're going to have, you have to have a chance to meet them, so it's not like, they just do whatever. But you see what I'm saying? Companions, the companion limit in most other Fallout games is you can have one pet companion, one human companion. I would say up that to 2 human companions and 1 pet companion, or 2 pet companions, 1 human companion. So a total of 3 companions versus 1 and 2. You should be able to give commands to your companions. So basically, you should have a perk in the game that basically lets you called like natural leader or something like that. That basically expands the commands you can give. So if you're just a normal companion, you don't have that perk. You can tell them go over here, do this, stay here. But if you're a natural leader, you can basically set up, tell them go play decoy and get these people here. Or I'll play decoy, you get them in a pincer movement. So you can actually do tactical type things. So having companions isn't just, well, they give you a perk and you can do this. There's actually some impetus to having a companion. I think that would work. I mean, I don't know if it's perfect, but I think it could work. I think companions, when they're not with you, when they're idling, you should be able to give them things to do. Like, there's things they'll do. Like, if you get a base in the game where your companions can hang out, let's say you get access to a base, a domicile where you can do whatever the hell you want. You should be able to go and tell people, hey, this person, I'm taking, there's like 6 of you. I'm taking 2 of you with me, but the rest of you can go do your own shit. Like let's say you take, let's say one of your characters is a former Legion member, another one's a former is a Brotherhood of Steel person. And you take them, the other 4 are just sitting there. This doesn't include the pet companions. And you're like, look, the scientist, could you make stim packs? Like, they're like, yeah, I'll make stim packs. So you put them on making stim packs and shit. Having companions should be more than them just being static waiting on you to do something. That's my point. Which leads to part 2, which is DLC, which we'll get to after the cut. So DLC in Fallout games, in the Bethesda Fallout games, have been hit or miss. Like, I find that the DLC in Fallout 3 was trash, and I find that the DLC in Fallout 4 was also trash. And Fallout 76, you won't even talk about that shit stain of a game. So, the question set is, I'm using Fallout New Vegas as my template for good DLC. Because by and large, the DLC in New Vegas expanded on the world, explained things, and had interesting character growth. Which is what you want in a game, okay? You want good character growth. You don't want, basically the same thing over and over and over again. So with that being said, what would I like from a Fallout game? Fallout New Vegas gave you 5 bits of DLC content. 4 of which were substantial, 1 of which was basically just like oh, here's some extra shit, some new weapons. I would say in my ideal Fallout game, you would have 5 pieces of DLC. The base game would get you to level 50. Each bit of extra DLC would raise your level cap by 10. So if you get all 5 pieces of DLC, you get access, you can go up to level 100. Now, this means more perks, more world spaces to explore. And the first bit of DLC, since this game, since in part 1 I said I would like this game to take place on the West Coast and the Pacific Ocean, with Hawaii and parts like a part of Japan. I would call the first DLC would be a riff on gigantic monster movies. You discover that there's another city off the coast of Tokyo, underwater, and this city. Initially, you're thinking that the people living in this city are the ones who are basically sending these monsters out, but they're just as under the sway of monsters attacking their city as anyone else. It's just they have more defenses because they're more technologically advanced. And basically, you discover that some third party is basically trying to destroy both of these cities and take all of their technology and resources for themselves. And you ultimately have to unleash an even greater monster to fight against these monsters that are being sent against these cities. So it becomes kind of like a Godzilla thing. I'm really thinking we could riff off of Godzilla. Have some Japanese guy like, well, what are we supposed to do? Let them fight. That type of thing. Eventually culminating with you traveling to a island, which is a testing point where everyone was testing their nuclear weapons before they dropped them on everyone, started the war, like a real life monster island where like everything's mutated and huge, culminating with you're actually not going to be able to fight this battle, but you seeing this battle take place of a gigantic mutated reptilian type creature fighting against other ones, fire-breathing reptilian-type creature. We're not going to call it Godzilla, but people will get the riff. And I'm thinking that's part 1, my first DLC. Second DLC would be a riff off of, let's see. I would do a riff off of, Red Dawn. I would do a riff off of Red Dawn, except instead of the communists invading you, you're invading the communists. So you invade this city, this port city in Russia, where you discover that basically the Russians still have this supercomputer that still thinks the war is going on. And now that it's seen a certain level of technological advancement, like it's basically planning to fire the rest of its nuclear payload at the new city, that's the new civilization and cities that are being rebuilt on the West Coast. So that's your character basically being like, oh god, I gotta fight against this. We gotta stop this shit. And that's the big thing. You could call it Operation Countdown or some shit like that. The next bit of DLC would be They Are Among Us, kind of like a thing where basically you discover that aliens have existed on Earth for a while, and they just want to go home. Some of them want to go home, some of them want to stay, but there's a third group of aliens. There's another group of aliens who are completely hostile and just want to take out what's left of humanity. And so basically, it becomes kind of like, okay, I have to help these aliens, but some other aliens are just not having a good day. So it turns into kind of like kind of like a manhunt type scenario where you're basically going to be going to alien bases, culminating with you going to the moon where there's an alien base on the moon. a hostile alien base. Taking out this hostile alien base, you can either destroy it or take it over for yourself, which gives you an alien base on the moon, which gives you access to some really great technology and shit like that, including a matter recombination machine, which basically lets you repair shit and remake and make weapons. You put base items on a thing and you can make a weapon in perfect condition. So this is great for like repairing shit that normally it's like, oh, there's only one of these in the game. It doesn't matter anymore, bitch. The third bit of DLC I think should be a kind of tying up loose ends. You discover what happened to those ghouls who flew into the Bright's followers from Fallout New Vegas. I think that could be cool. An interesting procedure. DLC number 4, you deal with basically either uniting or you deal with the division between the Brotherhood of Steel and the Followers of the Apocalypse, because at one time they were all one cohesive unit and then they split, and you can basically recombine them under a new vision or wipe out the Followers of the Apocalypse or the Brotherhood of Steel, so it becomes a DLC basically tying up those loose ends. And the 5th DLC would be called Meccano's Revenge, where basically the main villain from the base game set a kill switch that basically is threatening to destroy everything you worked for in the base game. And now you've got to basically, essentially, you have the option to finish off his machinations for good. But yeah, those are my 5 bits of DLC. Of course, these would be written by people who actually write for video games and not people who are trying to keep it simple, stupid. So not in the hands of Bethesda. So with that being said, that's the end of the DLC portion. We'll get into the miscellaneous after the cut. So here's my miscellaneous. My miscellaneous is pretty simple. I think that Fallout, that now that Bethesda and InXile and Obsidian are all under one aegis, which is Microsoft, you can actually have these companies, the people at these companies who worked on the original Fallout, actually come together, except for Bethesda, because fuck them. But you can have InXile and Microsoft and Obsidian come together and make a Fallout game that people want, and not the bullshit we've been getting from Bethesda. So I talked about what I would want. I'm going to talk about what I would not want from the next Fallout game. I don't want bullshit DLC. I don't want dumbed down gameplay mechanics. Obviously, I'd like to see mod support, but I would rather have a stable game over mod support. I don't want to see broken-ass characters in the game. I don't want to see... I would like to see this game be given the time it needs in order to make it into a good game. But that's just me. So with that being said, give me your thoughts on what you would like to see in a future Fallout game, what your ideal concepts are, etc., etc. Remember, rate, comment, share, subscribe. We have a podcast every Wednesday and Saturday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we talk about all types of video game news and topics and that type of thing. Wednesdays, our big capstone point of the podcast is our unpopular opinion, and Saturday we go over we nominate and crown our asshole of the week. in gaming. And believe me, you can always find an asshole of the week. So that being said, that's in this video. Remember, rate, comment, share, subscribe. Peace, and enjoy.